So I assume by now you've all seen all the tier lists that have been going around ranking the main characters of certain anime. Well, I managed to find the original list, apparently created by YouTuber and Twitch streamer Lotus Sakura, who I'm actually kind of a big fan of. Long story short, after seeing all the lists that were made in response to his, I thought it would be a fun idea to make my own, and basically we're just going to be going in order from the characters that he has listed right here. Starting off apparently with Anya from Spy Family, and this is already starting off with a hard one for me because I absolutely do love Anya as a character. She's like the perfect mix of adorable and chaotic that just makes you want to keep watching her shenanigans. But when it comes down to it, she doesn't really outshine either of the other two main characters in my opinion. So for that, I'm going to place her here in B tier. And then we have Asta, and do I even really need to get into it? Of course, Asta is going straight into S tier. Bochi, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I unfortunately have not seen the anime just yet, although I'd have heard great things about it. But since I haven't seen it, I don't feel right placing her in any of the tiers. So we'll just place her right down here in I haven't seen. Boruto, I'm kind of torn on this one. I want to place Boruto in B tier, but I don't know if his character has shown me enough to deserve that spot. While I do enjoy him as a character, and based on the latest chapters, I do think he's actually going to be going in the direction where he does deserve to be in B tier, maybe even A tier. But I don't think he's just that great of a character just yet. So until the manga comes back and we get to see what kind of character he becomes, I think until then he's going to be placed right here in C tier. Next up is Deku, and you know what? I actually really do enjoy Deku. He's a terrific main character who's worked very hard to get from where he started to where he is now. He's not quite S tier for me just yet, but I do feel comfortable placing him right here in A tier. Okay, next up is Denji. I haven't really seen the anime for Chainsaw Man or even read part 1. I did read part 2 or start reading part 2 because I heard it follows a brand new character and I felt comfortable jumping in at that point. But I haven't seen enough of him, even though he does show up in part 2, to really judge him as a main character. So I'm going to place him down in haven't seen. Ed, another solid character, not really much I can say negative about him, and I have a soft spot for characters whose whole driving goal is to save a younger sibling. So right here in S tier he goes. Eren, honestly, I enjoy Eren much more as the villain of the series than I did as the main protagonist, but he is enjoyable enough as a character and his motivations in the beginning are ones that I can really get behind. So I'll place him here in B tier. Next, we have Gintoki from Gintama, which despite my friend Ivan, who's joined me for a few videos, constantly telling me to watch Gintama, I still haven't seen the show yet, so you know exactly where he's going. Giorno was a solid member of the JoJo cast and was a nice fresh look at an MC for that series, but when it comes down to it, part 5 honestly was probably the one I enjoyed the least out of all of the parts. That being said, I still haven't seen part 6 yet, so maybe that might end up being the one I don't like the most. But when it comes down to it, as of right now, out of the 5 parts I have seen, part 5 is my least favorite, and when it comes down to it, out of all the characters in part 5, he was my least favorite, so I'll place him right down here in B tier. Okay, so this might end up being the most controversial one on the list. Next up is Goku, and before I place him anywhere, I just want to make it perfectly clear, Dragon Ball is a series from my childhood that I've seen every episode of multiple times, and while I'll always have a place in my heart as being a main part of my childhood, a big part of my childhood, I do have a lot of problems with the series, and a lot of those problems stem from Goku as a character. So while I won't say he's a bad character, I can't say he's a great one either. And for that, I'm going to place him right here in B tier. Gon was actually just an all-around fun character to watch, and I really enjoyed seeing how his journey progressed and how he developed as a character throughout the entirety of the series, and the fact that he didn't stick to the normal good guy mentality of a shonen protagonist, and sometimes did things that weren't morally that great, really did make him a nice change of pace for when it comes to main characters in shonen manga. But the fact that his manga is able to continue for so long, like a whole 50 or so chapters, I don't even know how many, after he stopped showing up in the series and we pretty much changed protagonists to being a different character, I can't say that he's going to be right up there as a great character or one of the top tier MCs. So I'm going to stick him right here in A. I haven't seen Haikyuu yet. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Same with Horima. Ichigo. Okay, this is a hard one for me to say, but as much as I love Bleach and it was the very first manga I've ever read, I can't justify putting Ichigo as an S tier character. He's a great character, but I just don't think he's up there. So I'm going to place him right here in A tier. Okay, so next up is Inuyasha, and for years this was my favorite anime, only recently being replaced by Certain Magical Index, which unfortunately the MC of that show is not on this list for some reason. That being said though, to me, Inuyasha isn't that impressive as a main character, So unfortunately, I'm going to have to place him right here in B tier. Conan, don't really have a strong opinion on him. I've seen around maybe like 150 episodes of the anime, and while I did enjoy it, I wasn't really watching it for him. He wasn't what kept me watching the show. It was more the whole mystery aspect of the show that really enticed me. And since we don't really have anyone there just yet, I'm going to throw him right down here in D tier. Jonathan, probably my second least favorite of the JoJo's. Great character, by the way, great story, really enjoyed seeing how it progressed from beginning to end, which, by the way, such a tragic and beautiful ending as it was, but I can't justify putting him any higher than B tier. Joseph, straight up my favorite of the JoJo's, straight into A tier he goes. Then we have his son Josuke, and he may not be my favorite of the JoJo's, but as far as main characters go, I honestly think he's the best out of this entire series. Plus, I might be a little biased because part 4 is my favorite part, so I'm going to place him right up here in S tier. Jotaro, A tier. Kaneki, B tier you go. Kenshin, straight into S tier, no question about that. Okay, next we have Kirito. Honestly, I feel like his anime gets way too much hate for the second half of his first season, when the entire rest of his show is honestly really good. And after that last season of the anime, I can't put him any lower than B tier. Kuroko no Basket, have not seen. Lelouch, honestly, I want to put him in S, but there were so many times during the anime that he did things that just made me look at him sideways, so I think A tier fits him better. Light, I have no misgivings about doing this. Straight into C tier you go. Then we have the GOAT himself, Luffy. Look, as much hate as One Piece gets for being so long, it's still one of the most popular series in the world, and a big part of that is due to how great of a character Luffy is. And while he's not my favorite character on the show, Zoro is, I still recognize that greatness. So right into S tier he goes. Ooh, okay, so this is an interesting one, because individually I would put these two characters each in B tier, but together, Maka and Soul, their combination is so great that it honestly propels the two of them into A tier. Meliodas, I honestly think Seven Deadly Sins is actually a great manga, and I really need to go back and actually finish it because I haven't finished it just yet, so I can start up the sequel manga to it. But when it comes down to it, he is my least favorite out of all the sins, so C tier he goes. Mob, okay, so when it comes to Mob, I have to base this solely off the first 2 seasons because I haven't seen season 3 yet, and based on that, I think he is a solid MC, but he's not a great one, so I'll put him in B. Alright, next up is Naota, and FLCL is one of my all-time favorite animes from my childhood, and maybe it's just me being biased due to my love of the show, but I want to place him right here in S tier. Okay, Naruto. I can't in good conscience place Asta in S tier and put Naruto any lower, because despite my hatred for the whole reincarnation of a god part of his story, Naruto as an MC hits a lot of the same beats that I love about Asta. So right into S tier. Okay, Natsu, you know what, I actually really enjoyed Fairy Tail from beginning to end, and I'm actually really enjoying 100 Years Quest as well. In fact, I need to go back to reviewing that series. And Natsu, I really actually do think he is a great character, and as much as I want to put him in A, I just can't, because when people can argue and actually make logical sense about you not actually being the MC of your own show and another character being the real MC, it does bring you down a bit. So B tier he goes. Ryuko, I don't think I've seen more than maybe 10 episodes of Kill la Kill, and honestly, I don't really remember her character that much from what I have seen, so I don't really feel comfortable really ranking her off of just that. So she's going right down here. Okay, Saitama, alright, he is a fun character, but when it comes down to watching One Punch Man and basically the whole driving force of the show, it's really all about the other characters, and I enjoy seeing them more than I actually enjoy seeing him involved in the story. So I had to put him down here in D tier. Shinji, yeah. Shinra, I'm going to place you in B tier. Soma, I've never seen your show. Spike, okay. I really personally don't see how anyone who has seen Cowboy Bebop could ever put him anywhere below S tier, so that's exactly where he's going. Subaru, ReZero is on my watch list, but I haven't gotten to it just yet, so down here. Takemichi, I honestly think he's a pretty good character. I don't really understand why he gets so much hate. To me, he goes in B. Tanjiro, B tier. Haven't seen. Suna, you know what? I honestly did hate him at first and actually didn't really think the series was going to be anything great in the beginning. But as it went on, he became an amazing MC. So right into A. Usagi, right into S tier, no question. Yato, C tier. Yo, okay. As much as I love Shaman King, I wasn't really that big on him as a character. In fact, I kind of enjoyed a lot of the other characters more than I did him. So I'll put him in B tier. Same with Yuji. Okay, Yusuke. I've actually gone on record about my love-hate relationship with the series. I absolutely hate the last two arcs of the anime, but I love everything from the beginning all the way up to the Dark Tournament. And honestly, while I would put the series as a whole in a B tier, but I can't lie, Yusuke himself goes straight into S. Okay, and that is the entire list of characters that is on this list made by Lotus Asakura. And this is how I ranked them. And let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about my listing, about how I rank these characters. And let me know, who would you rank higher, who would you rank lower, and please tell me how much of an idiot I am.